Back once again, and today we are here to talk about learning at JSID. So we begin, first of all, by welcoming all of you. I hope you all are doing well. It seems better. The weather is still keeping up with us. And today we have a session on JSID. How do we teach at JS Institute of Design? You'll also get to know what all you will be learning at JS Institute of Design and some more details about the pedagogy at JSID on interior design program. So my name is Nayan Xiao. I'm the academic advisor at JSID. I have many years of experience, more than 2 decades of experience in design education. And previous to that, and I've been also doing design practice. But let me tell you, what we have planned for JSID is really, really unique. And we are going to expose the teaching methods as we go along. But in the meantime, may I introduce you to Lily Tandon. Lily Tandon is a faculty of JSID, and I'm going to invite her to speak about herself. So Lily.
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Lily Tandon. I am a course coordinator and faculty at JSID, and I am a graduate of TVB School of Habitat Studies from the batch of 2009. I have been working in the field of architecture interior for 8 years. I worked in firms like ARPOP, JP, Urbanscape Architects, and last 2 years, around 2.5 years, I've been into academics. I've been teaching at Delhi School of Architecture and Design and many colleges to the likes of it.
So before we begin, let me remind you all, those who are attending our webinars in the past and those who are coming here for the first time, that if you have any questions, please feel free to go on to the question and answer and type in your questions. We will take your questions at the end of the session. And if whatever many numbers that you may have, if not able to answer them in this session, we are getting in touch with you following that. So we are there to answer your questions today also. Let me give you a little background to the genesis of the JS Institute of Design. It was, of course, started by JS Studio, which is a chain of fine furnishing fabrics that you can see from the visuals over here. In fact, this has been the chain which has been a pioneer in bringing the finest of the furnishing fabrics to the public in all aspects of the home furnishing, be it curtains, furnishings, carpets, cushion covers, and any aspect of the furnishing that may be required. It was founded in 1965 by Mr. Jagdish Khandelwal. And I could say that even so many decades ago, he really was the pioneer who thought such shops are needed for designers to have access to the material that they use in their projects. These shops are, of course, in Delhi, but they're also located in Kolkata and Ludhiana. You probably would find the Delhi shops located in Lajpat Nagar. And incidentally, I must also tell you that JSID, the School of Design, is located above the JS stores. And if you are there to visit the stores, please do walk into the college and come and meet us. So the school JSID was started by 2 founders in partnership, Mr. Jagdish Khandelwal and Dr. Pramat Raj Sinha. Now, I already informed you about Jagdish Khandelwal. He's been the founder and the managing director of the Jagdish stores, the pioneer who brought in fine furnishings, home furnishings to our country, and has been the place where most designers go in to get their inspirations. They find their ideas over there. They go to look for new trends. And what better place than Jagdish Stores? So if you are there, you will find a whole community of designers looking out for new things. And there a lot goes behind putting those fabrics together. You know, the kind different kinds of fabrics that are needed in a home. If you are interested, one day you should come in and find out how different fabrics are sourced from across the world. Some of them are, of course, repeated again and again for every season. But the very aspect of putting together fabrics for the homes, the way they are visually merchandised, is it's quite a talent by itself. And you could get such an exposure if you walk into the store. Uh, I also would like to introduce to you Pramath Raj Sinha, who has been the founder of the Ashoka University. Also, prior to that, he was the founding dean of the Indian School of Business in Hyderabad. So Mr. Pramath Raj Sinha has, of course, many accolades to initiatives in the education field. He has more than 20 years of experience. So a lot of the different methodologies of education, the different programs in education, for example, the Vedika initiative or Anand Fellowship, these are all the initiatives brought about by Dr. Raj Sinha. I'm going to give you a little background to how this whole process was initiated. A thought process was put into place by the visionaries and the founders as to what is required in education in our country. There were many, many colleges and universities in design which already were taking root in and around the metro cities. But there was always a feedback from the industry which had started emerging after the university, the UGC had affiliated many of these programs, resulting in students graduating with a degree in the design careers. And it was discovered that there has been a kind of a slight slackening of hands-on experience. Students were probably, because of the reduction of the years and certain academic qualification requirements, there was some practical hands-on experience lacking in the students when they went into the industry for placements. As a result, the research by Ernst & Young gave us the idea to look at short program after graduation where we could train these graduating students or the graduating designers or people who are interested to come into the field with absolute hands-on technical information, understanding of the latest technicalities or software applications that are being used in the industry, and the ability to develop and solve problems that are required at the site. So that's that's the whole process of being course, like the course that we are running at the college. And it's a 1.5-year program with 1 year of intensive studio practice, classroom education, followed by half a year. That means 6 months internship with the industry. The program at this JSID, it imbibes many qualities, such as the foremost being that it is going to be an immersive learning experience. Now, what do you mean by immersive learning? That means that there will be teaching of fundamentals. There will be practice of these fundamentals in application. And it involves the student as well as the teacher who is guiding them to work along on projects and on learning together. That is why it is an immersive program. It requires the student to be able to apply it as they go along. At the same time, there is a recognition of the fact that a lot of creative graduates also need to have other professional experience to be successful in the industry. And that is the reason why we have built in something called the Leaders Build and Lead program. The Build and Lead program is going to enable students to understand communication required, all aspects of business, such as negotiations, accounting, any other aspects of business, which is really important to manage yourself in the professional world. It also is really, the teaching at JSID is going to follow a contemporary pedagogical method of learning. There is, of course, teaching involved, but the student, as they keep on teaching or learning, are going to adjust to learning by themselves. And that becomes a major pedagogical method which has been implemented at JSID. There are two main aspects to the course in JSID. One is mainly concentrated on design, which is the core, and build and lead. In the design program, of course, besides the fundamentals which will be taught to you, you will also be undertaking 4 major projects. The projects are in the area of residence, hospitality, retail, and corporate design, which means spaces being used for such purpose will be undertaken as projects while you are learning over there. The students are going to be undertaking these projects along with a mentor from the industry. The mentor from the industry becomes the studio head in the project, comes and briefs the students, gets feedback to the students on the work that is being done, and brings in the reality of the professional field in the project. While our in-house faculty member, such as Lily ma'am, and we have others as well, they are going to be the ones who are going to guide you as you go on learning. Now, the most interesting part of this project is we are going to have students at different levels in this project. For example, the student who has already started with a residency project moves on to the next project, which will be the retail project. The student who joins in for the retail project will remain at the basic level. And as a result, in the project of retail, we are going to have 2 levels of students, the basic designers and the students who are at the next level of the design. The kind of work being undertaken by them will be at different levels. So the basic student would be required to, let's say, undertake research and come up with the basic layout of the project, whereas the next level student would be expected to undertake more advanced, complex styling solutions and come up with building service solutions, etc. I'm going to leave that to Lily ma'am to explain further and to go in details. Let me just quickly let you know also in the build and lead, can you go back please? So in the build and lead modules, we are going to be learning about various marketing skills, which I think all of us as designers must understand whether we undertake that function later on or not. We are also going to be looking at organizational functions, understanding commercial aspects of all of the projects and so forth. Next, please.
So I will like to tell you about the project-based learning. Now we are talking about 4 projects that will be covered in a period of 11.5 months. These 4 projects, for example, we'll be having 4 projects, as ma'am already mentioned. Each project will be covered in around 3 months. So in this way, we'll be covering 4 projects in a course of 12 months. These projects will be starting, of course, for right now, we'll be starting with a retail project in the month of June. All the course modules and all the subjects that we will be covering in these 3 months, they will help you accentuate the soft and hard elements that you will be using to bring out your retail project. For example, we will be doing visual merchandising. Now, visual merchandising is basically the art of representing your merchandise in a designer way. We'll be doing graphics and branding. Graphics and branding are basically the way your graphics and the branding of the whole store comes in. If I take a simple example, if you compare the way products, your merchandise and the graphics and branding are done in a Bata store, they are different from an Adidas store. So similarly, we'll get you acquainted to understand and get in touch with what exactly is a way a designer designs a retail space. So we'll be starting off with our retail project in June batch. The same students will go on to the hospitality project when new students will join them. At this point of time, they will become senior designers as compared to the ones joining in. So it will be a studio type learning. In a studio, you have a senior designer, you have a junior designer, and you will have interns. So similarly, the residence project, which had already started off in the month of February, those students will become senior designers. The retail project students will become junior designers, and the one joining us in the hospitality project will be like interns. So similarly, you will be trained to tackle how to be trained in a team. You will be handling your team building skills as well. Now, I would like to tell you how you will be touching on the course module. Could I have the next slide, please?
Lily, 1 minute before we move on, I just want to inform you, all the participants who are here today, that our admission is still on, the interviews are being carried out. Those of you who are interested to join us, you're welcome to come and fill up the applications, and hope to meet you all soon.
Yes, for our June batch. Yes, so for our program module, the program module, of course, includes design. In design, we'll teach you ergonomics, space planning, interior styling. I'll just touch a little more upon that. But before that, I also want you all to know the softwares that we are covering. It will be in 2D softwares. We are covering AutoCAD, which is a vastly used software in the field of architecture and interior. We'll also be covering a 3D software called SketchUp, and you'll be learning how to make them better and get better at your rendering skills with the plugin, which is a V-Ray. We'll be getting into the technical aspects with the help of understanding building construction materials and building services. We'll also be touching upon the management aspect of interiors by doing project management. In that, we will touch upon work breakdown structure, and we'll be also concentrating on making estimates, detailed estimates. Until and unless you do not submit an estimate, how will you get a project and turn that into a real time project for yourself? Could I have the next slide, please? So yes, freehand sketching. This is going to be a module which you will be starting off in the first semester itself, and this will be continued till the end of your the whole 11-month learning. In the freehand sketching, you will be having a module which you will be made to understand and master from to present an idea into a graphical form so that you can connect with the layman, you can connect with the client. When we go on to the orthographic projections, next. The orthographic projections are basically a method of projection in which an object is depicted using parallel lines to project or trace its outline onto a plane. So basically you have horizontal plane, which is a plan or a layout. जैसे हम in terms people say naksha. Then you project it onto vertical plane, which are called elevations and sections. And basically, it is a way of representing a three-dimensional object in two dimensions. So you can see here that we have examples of elevations and sections. Next. So ergonomics. Ergonomics is a very important module that people tend to miss out. But ergonomics are important, and you will be considering ergonomics of each project when you begin it. So these are the basics. And basically, what is ergonomics? It is basically the study of length, width, height of a furniture according to a standard human body size. So, like studying anthropometrics. Anthropometrics is basically the study of human form. But you study the furniture according to the human anthropometrics. So why do we study it? Basically, on everyday basis, we perform an activity like cooking, like working on a desk, like, sleeping also. There are some postures that are required for a body. If you get into an awkward posture, your body goes through stress, and you may also have some musculoskeletal disorders. So to avoid that, we study the ergonomics and try to come into the exact dimensional aspects and study the dimensions and get them into your furniture layouts. When once you've touched the furniture layouts and made them proper, you will get into the circulation zoning. You will get into the circulation zones, and you will start carving out the circulation to make it proper so that people can access the spaces around them. And when both these things combine, the ergonomics and furniture layout, then you come into the larger aspect and zoom out and have your space planning layouts which you work on. Next. Colors. Yes, so colors are a very important module that uh, we all know that color wheels is something that makes you understand what a color is. But even more than that, you get into understanding the color schemes that come out of the color rules that you have the analogous color schemes, you have the complementary color schemes, monochromatic color schemes, and the schematic triads. So all these schemes you can apply on your interior compositions and make them beautiful. The building construction materials is another module that we will cover, in which you will come across and understand, observe, understand, and apply the knowledge of a surface. You'll get into materials like veneers, laminates, and the structure behind it is made up of ply, BWR ply that is used in kitchen. You have the WPC ply. You have the different kinds of foam boards. Then there are polishes. Many of you must not be knowing about PU polishes that come on your surface to protect it and even to make it look more glossier and interesting. You have a lot of kind of paints. There are glass. There are different kinds of glass that we'll study: etching glass, other glasses, colored glasses. So yes, flooring materials also, we can delve into a lot of materials, and all these materials you have to know the knowledge. You have to know them so that you can play with them and create a beautiful composition in your interiors.
So there, Lily ma'am has explained a lot of things that you will be learning. But more than that, I think for you guys, it is important that you have to amalgamate all this learning and apply it to a particular brief, whether you design a residence, which is an interior, personal interior, or is it a public space? It could be hospitality. Now, to help all of us, along with what's happening in the industry, we have a panel of advisory members. All of them are well-known brands by themselves, but these are also the experts who are specifically known for the kind of work that they have done. You can see 4 of them over here, and we have many others who are still, whom we haven't put in because it's a large panel. But here you can see Mr. Akshat Bhatt from architecture discipline. He's been very well known for the Made in India pavilion, which he had helped to design when Made in India campaign was on. He's also been talked about for a lot of sustainable projects. There's Miss Anjali Goyal of La Sorojika. She's been very well known for mainly doing residences and hospitality projects, many of them in the Gulf region, but very high-end and luxury interiors. On your right, we have Madhav Raman, who is also an architect. His company is called Anagram Architects. Again, very well known for his sustainable projects, more as a thinker. His projects are quite a sight to see, because his projects take off on a visual idea and then and emerges, and from that emerges a lot of visual detailing. And if you have a chance to go and look up their websites, you'll see how they have been not only thinking through the projects, but they have been setting trends with the kind of work that they are doing. And we also have Koelika Kohli as from K2 India as on our advisory panel. The The college also has invited many very experts who are part of our faculty members, and you will have different faculty members, at least in the projects. When the projects are going on, industry members, depending on what expertise they have, they will be coming in at that time. So for example, at the moment, on the personal residence projects, we have Minakshi Goyal from Mobile Grace. And in the next project, we are having another interior person who will be coming in as the industry mentor. But many of these teachers would be teaching you basic elementary subjects. Mr. Mohesh Bose would be handling your furnishings, fabrics and furnishings. Mr. Manu Manshit will be dealing with the visual merchandising learning. Jyoti Thapa would be dealing with the branding of branding in the interior spaces. We also have Saurabh Goswami, who is a communication expert, and I think he's going to be training you to how to present yourself, how to articulate your ideas, and how to make presentations ultimately. Then we have also Mr. Chandrasekhar Beda, who is the color expert. So in almost all different terms and different projects, we would have teachers coming in at different times.
So let's begin with understanding the learning at JSIT. So let's imagine that this is a space your client has given you. It is a living room that he wants to renovate by just replacing this blue couch, this couch on the left. So could we have the question, please? So let's do a little activity.
So this is a question everybody can join in. Oh, this is wonderful. Okay. So Lily, can I just go ahead? Okay.
Yeah. So please.
So which of the furniture pieces would you use to replace the one-seater sofa on the left of the previous image? So you were shown an image and there's a one-seater on the left. You need to remove it and replace it with one of these. Make your choice and let's see what Lily has to say.
So meanwhile, you can notice the chairs that are there.
You can also notice, Lily, I think the material, I hope the material does not make them think differently.
Yes, it certainly does. It certainly does. The fabric on the...
A complete leather one. You also have a furniture with a combination of velvet and silk.
Yes,
so
definitely.
Interesting combination.
So all these things do matter, ma'am, because the temperature of the material is also something.
Wow. So you can already see the answer. There you are, Lily.
Oh, yes. Mostly the students have voted Nordic style, 57%. But for the ones who have voted the other one, I will tell you why and why not. So can we have the next slide? So the first option is one that we most probably don't go for because firstly, it is a Victorian style chair. It has a lot of carving on its legs and also back. The material is silk and velvet. Now, if you look at the image, it is quite a modern and a minimal, style. It also has sleek lines in it, and putting something like a Victorian style chair in this setup will make it an ISO more than a comfortable element in this composition. Can we go on to the next slide? Okay, so about the rustic style chair. Of course, firstly, it is a rustic style, and the patina only, it suggests something alien to the image that we already have. Also, let's talk about the armrest. The height of the armrest in this chair is very high. It cuts off the person sitting on this chair from the other people sitting on the other chairs, other furniture. So I would most probably not go for this furniture as well. So yes, it makes this chair, the Nordic and minimal style chair, the most apt option to choose from all the other options because yes, it is a minimal chair and it fits in very well with the modern look. It connects the user to the whole space and the color adds a pop of freshness in this neutral look.
So we can already see that many participants are quite tuned into the choices. So let's see about
Yes,
this one.
yes, yes.
Okay, this question
Uh,
on
yes. So for the
colors.
ones who are not, they can definitely come and join us at JSID, no problem. Uh, so
Okay,
yes,
so please explain.
talking colors, I would like to talk. So I'm sure when I, talked about a little pop of color at the end of the last question, you must be thinking that why, So yes, let's talk about colors. So for any composition, there is a rule, and it is called 60-30-10 rule. Now, according to this rule, the main color or the dominant color should be around 60% of the whole composition. So, for example, in this image, we can see that the gray color, along with the color on the wall and the sofa, it adds on to this, it adds on to a large amount that is around 60%. The next part is that the 60%, then it should be the main or dominant color. 30% should be a secondary color. Okay, so the 30% of the composition should be a secondary color. In this image, it is the yellow mustard rug. And 10% should be an accent color. It should be a pop of color. So in this image, it's the blue soap. So depending on this, let me ask you a question. So which color would you prefer for the Nordic chair out of the colors given below? So I'm talking about the same interior image that we have given you. So let's know what's going on in your mind.
So we are going to find out who is going to be the more conservative ones, who are going to be really
Definitely.
bold, and who are going to be just right. As far as
Yes.
I think, all three of them are right. Is it so?
So let's see. We'll find out.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's the
Okay.
answer once again. Wow.
So of course, um, blue is an option. Of course. Now this was a little tricky question that we gave you. Many of them have also said yellow 38%. And blue is 48%. Now, I would not deny the choice of yellow. Could we go on to the next slide? So in the image, we saw that if we add, why wouldn't the white chair go? Now, we already have a very dominant neutral palette, and adding something like white or gray into this, composition would make it look very boring. And I would most probably, if I go according to the color wheel combination in which it says use complementary colors are the colors that are opposite on the wheel. Okay, so here, if you have a yellow mustard rug on the floor, you would take a complementary color that is blue, and that would be the chair that most people have chosen. 48%. Now, also, 38% have chosen yellow. I would not say that it's the wrong choice. Why? Because then you're opting for a monochromatic color scheme. Yeah, it goes with your mustard colored rug. But to make that more balanced, you would like to add some pop of colors. Remember the 60-30-10 rule? So you would like to add some pop of blue colored cushions on the couch. Okay,
So the blue is the 10%
next
accent.
please. Yeah, yeah. So it's the 10% accent.
I just want to
Next
make a
question
point here.
is, I would like you to notice this image. The next one. So please notice this image. Nian ma'am is going to ask you a question on this.
Okay, before I begin this question, I just wanted to point out to all the participants over here that many times, many of us innately or without understanding why we choose the colors properly, like many of you did. Probably you don't know why you chose it, but you know that goes correct. You know that blue will go very well in that environment. And this is something I think a formal education is going to make you aware of. when you know you are doing it unconsciously or subconsciously without knowing the reason, doing it correctly, this training is going to help you start understanding why a blue will go better in this environment, and why the next choice, which is yellow, can the yellow go in as well. So when you are able to consciously know the decision about whether it should be a blue or whether it should be a yellow, and the reason why it is going to make the interior look different, is it going to make it look more bold, is it going to be more avant-garde, is it going to be too formal? Sometimes you require the environment to be very formal, and that is the time you are going to choose that yellow or the white. So once we know all these things, I think that's when your education becomes complete and you are in control of your profession, and that's what the training will do to you. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, I'll just start the question then. What kind of a curtain drape heading would you design for the windows in the given interior? Please notice the windows, notice the furniture and the environment, and make a choice about the curtain on the next slide. So the curtain drapes are given as pinch pleat. You also have eyelet pleat and you have box pleat. Make your choice, which one would go well in the interior. This is a tough one, I think, Lily, because not many of us are so sure about which one is correct. So I'm going to wait for your answer.
Yeah, so there is a styling aspect involved in it.
Okay.
Yes, truly. Yes.
So
I agree with people being confused in this one. Also, some may think that the choice of the fabric, if we have a glamorous fabric, we may make anything look nice, but no. You can, maybe you can, but mostly you would like to, okay, we have the answers. So I think, yes, we are most, we have a very tough competition over here.
Absolutely.
So yes, the pinch pleat comes to 43%, the box pleat comes to 33%, and the eyelet pleat comes to 25%. Okay, so I think the designers are already there in the audience. Yes, the correct answer is the pinch pleat. So for others, I would like to tell you that why did we say that pinch pleat? Now, pinch pleat is a very formal pleat, and it adds a lot. It's, it adds any classical touch. It adds a classical touch to your setting, and it's also a very feminine it has a very feminine touch to its pleats. If we compare it to the eyelet pleat is a very casual, pleat. It has a very casual heading. You have the rings. It adds a very casual look to the whole space. And even the pleats are, casual. So that's why I'm saying they are very informal. If we have the box pleat, now the box pleat is in close competition to all the people who have chosen the box pleat above the pinch pleat. I must tell you, a box pleat is a very masculine pleat. Okay, it gives a very masculine touch to the whole composition. You would rather take a box pleat in a very formal setup, but again, a man's den. Yeah, for a man's den, for a modern setup, but yet formal. Yeah. So that's why out of all those options, the pinch pleat goes the best.
Okay, that's wonderful tip for the youngsters.
So yes, now we have this question about project management. Nain ma'am, would you like to go forward with it?
Okay, so now besides your understanding and practice of design, you will be required to follow the whole process of managing a project. And the designer is expected to be on the site to solve problems at the site, as we say. So there has to be a good understanding of how long the table or the actual design takes place on the table.
There's a sequence that
exactly how long it takes to be on the site. But within that, there are certain processes which happen earlier, and there are the ones which are going to be the last finishing touches. So what you have over here is, what would be the order of execution at the site? Is it wall paneling? Is it false ceiling? Or is it installing furniture? Now the answers have been given, and let's see how you imagine the process. So do you think, Lily, there are more answers than one?
So yes, this
Yes, but
also
we're not going
has
to see it now.
an option.
We are going to
Yes.
wait
So
what people think.
right now we need to, yes, definitely. We need to understand that there are some situations that are different from the ones that are general. So
Okay.
we'll just discuss this.
Also, I think if you are good with project management, you can be very efficient, you can be cost effective, and you can be very productive. Okay, there's the answer.
So yes, oh wow. So the answer is just with the students. So yes, it's true. The false ceiling comes before the wall paneling, and installing the furniture comes in the end. For those who have chosen the first option, that the wall paneling comes before false ceiling, and then comes the installing furniture, I must tell you that that is an option only 10 to 15% of the times. It is when you have to do, you know, uh, uh, let's say you have to do a wet cladding, yeah, or something like that. So then the wall paneling comes. Could we have the answer? Oh, sorry. So yes, option B comes in when 70 to 80% of the times option A comes in, but option B comes in 10 to 15% of the times. Now, only when you have a cladding like wet cladding or something like that, then option B comes in. But mostly false ceiling comes in after the wall paneling is done.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah.
So
the answer got me confused.
a lot of time project management is also about common sense. So I can see
Yes.
that a lot the viewers over here seem to be very tuned in, and
Yes.
I'm sure they're going to make good professionals. So let's go to the next one. This is on the color trends. I think being sensitive to colors is a very important part of the interior, and designers have to be the ones to really be on top of the information about colors and being sensible to it. Now, these colors we are talking about sustainability, which is a very big movement, not only in interior design, it's across all design products. And there are certain colors which represent sustainability. And we are going to find out from you what you think. So if sustainability is the trend in 2020, what would be the color trend of the year? So you have classic blue, earthy tones, and tranquil hues. So let's see what most of you think. Mm-hmm. Okay, there you are. Lily? Okay.
Yes.
Should I?
So yes.
Okay, I just thought, let me see. Okay, one is that all the color palette given here are sustainable. And as we progress from year to year, our image of sustainability also changes a bit. Sometimes we are more tuned into the aqua colors because the sky and the water is so much more important than generally just the earth and the rustic colors of the earth. And sometimes it's about the mood, which is about tranquility. So in fact, sorry to say, all of them are sustainable colors. The one which is most in trend is right now in tranquil, but next year it could be either of the other two as well.
Yes.
So
the
you are quite right.
hues are the color trend of the year. Yes.
So all of the above are not feeling cheated, but you have been right. You are right. All three are correct. Okay, so now we are going to look at the questions by you guys. And I believe there are many questions regarding the course, regarding their ability to do the course. So let me dig them out, Lily, and I'm going to also seek your help in answering some of them. Oh, this all disappeared. 1 minute. Okay, let me just take the questions from the question answer panel. Okay, so here are the questions. Okay, Pauline. So Pauline's asking, do you conduct online classes for beginners? As this would be very useful. So Pauline, let me just say that our classes nowadays are being done online because of the lockdown situation. We were face to face when we started, and since the end of March, when we all had to shut down, all our classes are being taken online. When we start the next group, which is in June first week, we are going to start online as well. Now, whether the whole course will be online, not at this moment, but I must also inform you that we are going to be launching our short-term programs, and we will be looking at conducting some of the the short-term program online as well, if they are able to. The reason being because a lot of these learning, of course, can be done online, but some of them where studio practices involved, where feedback of the work is discussed best when the team is together, that is when we miss this face-to-face experience. We also like to take our students to the industry, to the markets where we see different kinds of wood, different stones, or different building construction material, and on the site experience that has to be face-to-face. So the whole course, the actual course won't be online, but short-term programs will plan to be online. Some of them, I can say, not all. Lily, anything else you think to add on?
Yes. So definitely we have some short-term courses also coming up. If you would like to join them for the basics, you
And
can
so
definitely join us.
those will be out very soon.
Yes, they will be out
Okay,
very
there's
soon.
another question from Swati.
Okay.
Is there a course for professional designers who also would like to master marketing skills? Would you like to answer that, Lily?
So a different course to only master the master skills of to only get them acquainted. Of course, we have this whole course right now. Maybe you can send us an email, and we can of course get back to you on on the list of the short term courses that are starting. But yes, if you want to just do marketing skills, I think that before getting into marketing you need to know what you're marketing. So yes, definitely come join the course, and maybe you can also learn about marketing it once you know the course very well.
All right. So I go and I agree with what Lily is saying.
So there is a question I can see. There's a question from Ishita. Where did it go? Okay. How is color associated with sustainability? Now, Ishita, color associations basically come naturally. Mostly people associate green, the environmental color, they talk about it being, sustainable. So, of course, some people also relate, the color of earth as sustainable, But yes, there is something that we call, that's why we break off into many let's say tributaries of it into uh, earthy tones and sky colors. So yes, it becomes something related to nature, so that becomes sustainable. Of course, we can also go into how the colors are made. Now that is a different niche in itself, that how colors are made. Last year Asian Paints had some sustainable colors that they paints that they came up with using sustainable materials. So there are many different aspects that you can reach on. But yes, only talk about colors. Yes, green and earthy tones are what we connect to in sustainability.
So, if I may just say in one line,
Yeah.
sustainability is like a big umbrella where you
Yes.
have many aspects, right from earth to sky to rivers and flowers. So you have many aspects of sustainability, and then different seasons you want to concentrate on one aspect. So it may be just the earth colors, and you may want to appreciate all the colors which are in the earth, the stones, the mountains, etc. Some season you may want to look at only the blues of the sky or blues of the rivers, etc. That's how designers differentiate the way they want to work with colors. And this is for the understanding of, this is our visual language. Okay, so I have another question here from, oh, there is somebody called Nayan. I hope it's not my Nayan. Okay, what is the minimum qualification required to undertake the 18-month program course? Uh, okay, so I would say that you need to be a graduate, which means you need to have had 3 years of experience, or 3 years of studies after your 12th. And many times I know that 3 years, people might have done 3 years of diploma studies. We would consider that as well, but we'd like to see where you've done it and what kind of studies have you done. Okay, the next is, does JSID provide short post-graduation course in interior design? Yes, we are going to be announcing our short programs very soon, and you could probably check out whether those courses suit you as well. I'm going to ask you this, Lily.
Yes.
Narayan is asking, can beginners in interior design join this program?
So definitely, Narayan, beginners in interior design can definitely join this program because we do begin with some basics, as I told you today, and we help you become and gain advanced skills in that. So we definitely would like you to come and also, assess and try to get the zest of what is happening in the institute, so that you get to know that all the course modules that are over here, they will help you understand and master what an interior designer needs to know before getting out into the field.
Wonderful. So while you're on it, there's another question on, will the institute be offering placements at the end of the course?
So we definitely offer you an internship. Jagdish Stores has, with its long-term association with the architects and interior designers in the field, they have come up with a lot of they have come up with open hands to us, and they want to accept interns from our college, and we will be placing you as an intern. Yes, it is up to you. After the 6 months, you can turn it into a placement.
So I can also add on over here to say that internship is a period where you will experience the real industry, but you are still an intern. During that time, either you work in a way that aligns you with the working of the office, and if it suits both of you, then you can be placed in that office, or we will have a placement program beyond that. But a lot depends on your portfolio at the end of the year. So those who come in must ensure that your portfolio is substantial enough, creative enough, and adheres to all the technical requirements and creative requirements, because that is what the industry is looking out for you to have a chance in the placements. And that of course will be the effort from both yourself and the college. Can interior design be learned online? Lily, would you like to go at that, please?
So definitely, question. Okay, so whoever it is. So before coronavirus, we were also in a belief that studio classes at least cannot be conducted online. But yes, with this on our heads, we have come to an understanding that we have, been successful in getting the studio classes and getting the momentum in the studio classes, and students are performing well in our of the present batch. They are they have been, we are even taking freehand sketching classes. We have a setup, our faculty has a setup in which one of the screens is on their copy and sketchbook, and the other screen is on them, and they answer questions. The sessions, in fact, earlier people would think they would only last for 1 hour, but you won't believe it, the sessions last from 9 to 1. We have almost 4 hours for which the sessions go on. We have a lot of discussions, since design studio is all about what student comes up with, the different iterations, and we answer them. We have a good discussion on the work. So yes, studio does work. So yes, interior design can definitely be taught. I would just say one line, that jaha chahe wahan rahe. So yes, if you want to learn, you can definitely learn it online as well.
I have a little a slightly different point of view. You can, the face-to-face classes are actually teaches you how to work together, how to take feedback and improvise immediately, and how to really look at each other's work to align it together. And these are practices which work best when people are together. It works more efficiently when you're together. It works faster. It is more productive. So with online,
Yes, definitely.
there are many issues which we are facing, but these are also the early days. So we really can't say how well it will be. In fact, as soon as our lockdown opens up, we are attempting to get back to face-to-face classes. And we would think that I would invite all of you to come to the school, to the college, and to meet up with the students and to see the kind of work that is happening. I have many more questions. I shouldn't waste time on just talking about one. So Lily, there's one. Are the projects that are part of the courses live projects? Are these live? So please help us understand that.
So yes, the design briefs, as Nian ma'am mentioned, we have mentors from the field walking in to give you the practical, feedback for your designs, and they share with you they share with you a live project. They share with you a live project that you have. They have with them, and they bring it on to you, and yes, it is a live brief. It is a live brief, and they take back a lot from us too.
Okay. I'm going to move on to the next questions. Deepika is asking, how should colors be selected for a room, and how can one bring in different colors for different elements like we suggested? Blue cushions. Should pop-up color be in one object only, or accent colors? Do you mean accent colors, or can we incorporate it in more objects? So yes, if you have a vibrant color, do you want it to be in more objects? Do you want to reiterate the 60-30-10 principle again, so that it becomes a little more understood by the participants? Lily?
So yes. So I didn't get the name. Deepika. So if you add, the pop-up accent colors in more than 10, if it becomes more than 10% of your whole composition, it would not remain balanced. So that's why I would like to repeat that you do stick to the 60-30-10 rule. The 60 should be the dominant color in the whole composition. The 30 becomes the secondary color, and 10 should be the pop-up color. So try not to make a lot of pop-up, then it will end up becoming the secondary or primary, and then you'll have two colors fighting for that role of secondary. So yes, do try to keep it balanced. We do go back to the principles of design, which state that harmony, balance, and unity are important. So when you'll come to JSID, we'll tell you that there needs to be a balance that should be maintained.
The other thing I'll add on to, how do you select colors? So you need to look at the 60% of the color being more neutral, which means it has toned down quality. It is blended into the background. So really low profile, because you want your room to be giving you a more serene look. So that's 60%. You can have the next 30% being slightly more brighter, but that in between intensity. Okay, and your 10% can be that intensified, saturated color. But how do you select that? You can either select it by having it from the same family. So if you have reds, you can, if you have a very toned down red, which means mixed with black and white, you can have a bright red as an accent, but that is from the same family. Or you can decide to have it from the opposite color, from the opposites in the color wheel, which is called the complementary color. That is the reason you need to understand this color theory. Then you'll be able to differentiate complementary colors very, very fast, and which most of us normally, innately say we select the opposite colors very fast because we know it. But if you knew the theory better, you'll be able to do a more conscious choice. Okay, now there's a question on Vastu. I think that's really interesting. Is Vastu part of the 18-month program? And are we sort of moving out? Just 1 minute, sorry. How important is it to have an understanding of Vastu?
Yes, so Vastu is not for now, Vastu is not for now a part of the
It
this
isn't?
18-month course, but yes, no, it
No,
isn't.
I think
But we are offering, we are coming up short-term courses in it. We are coming up with short-term courses in it, and there is also yes, nowadays a lot of clients are asking for Vastu. You have a lot of clients even not only opting up for it in residential but also in their retail spaces. It is getting somehow important, but again you have these niche clients who only opt for it. There are many other clients who are on a different line of thought only. So yes,
Okay,
is there
so
something you would like to add, ma'am?
yes, as I said, Vastu, we will be offering it in the short-term programs. You may like to look at that when we launch it.
Yeah, short-term.
Is there any executive course module which can be done online distance? As mentioned earlier, we are going to launch short-term programs. Some of them will be online. The others will be face-to-face because the requirement of the program and getting the students to actually feel, touch, and be able to discuss one-to-one. So those things are also very important part of the practice of interior design. So you will get that, you'll get to know that also. Do you have a course that just focuses on materials for people with background in architecture? We have a collection of short-term programs which we are, again, as I mentioned, we are going to announce very soon. I think there is a bit on material, so we'll let you know about that as well. There is a question on, do you offer fashion or textile design course? Whoever is asking this, we are in the process of launching another parallel discipline. So if interior design is a discipline, we are launching another parallel discipline, and we will announce it to you again in a few months' time after the short term has been launched. So once we launch a short term, I think in another few months, we are going to announce the next discipline that we are launching. How much guidance will we receive from faculty and mentors with regard to learning software during the course? Lily, can you answer this,
So
please?
yes, apart from the faculty that will be teaching you the softwares, there will be also in-house faculties, and you can reach out to them. Of course, now is a time of the WhatsApp. You can reach out to us on WhatsApp, as well as we will be there in the campus. You can reach out to us. There'll be a lab. There's already a lab which is fully equipped with all the softwares, and you can definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would, there's a last question. How can we keep us updated with the trends in color, material, and other elements in the interior design? So would you like to answer that? I mean, how do the professionals or the young designers, how do they keep updated? What do they refer to?
So yes, it is. You should refer to the WGSN trends. They take out interior design and fashion trends each year. You should be acquainted with them. You should also, look out for the color trends that are, there in the India Design ID that just happened. Asian color, they work for a whole year and they come out with color trends of the year. So you should be acquainted with them. So yes, definitely you should go and look for a subscription of the WGSN trends.
Okay, thank you very much, Lily. This has been, uh,
Okay.
I think, I'm sure the participants have understood what all they would be undertaking if they were to look at joining the course. So just to summarize very quickly, today the webinar session covered information about the JSID program itself, what is to be learned in that program, and how they will be learning. Because I think the how part is a very, very important element of the particular course, that is the 1.5 year interior program that we are talking about. We also understood through the quiz the elements of styling, small things like colors and furniture styles, and how they sort of they come together, coordinate very well, and what makes up an interior. So these are the surface things that we are exposing to you. As we go ahead, there are many more important things to be learned. And of course, ultimately, that project management is a very important part of it. The commercials of learning of the project are an important part of learning as well. So while we wind up today,
Yeah, I would like to add we have an external faculty for project management, a senior faculty working in for project management as well.
All right.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. And while we wind up for today, I would request all of you to please answer the poll question. Would you like to apply to the JSID program? And if you do, if you have any more questions or you need any clarifications, you are most welcome. Please send us those. We will be happy to answer them for you. So thank you very much. We have, oh, by the way, I must quickly announce this. This program has been brought about by Discover Design. This is a session devised by JSID to inform participants of the whys, whats, and hows of design. And we are in this sessions, this is held every Thursday from 4 to 5. And you are going to be exposed to various understanding of design, whether it is interior and space. And beyond that, we are going to be managing other design areas, such as products in interiors or communication technology and so forth. So please tune in on Thursday, 4 to 5. And we look forward to talking to you, meeting you, and hearing from you. Also, following the session, there will be a survey. I request you all to please fill in the survey as well. So bye-bye and thank you very much.